Jason? She asks. She's not sure if he's real. Something with teeth cracks across Jason's face, but it's too angry to be a smile, too heartbroken to be a snarl, and too cruelly sadistic to be a grimace. The almost grin is a twisted combination of all three, and the result on his face is something that makes Barbara's skin crawl, with her own three-way blend of guilt, indignance, and fear. She's never been scared of Jason before. "What's the matter, Barbara?" he asks her now. His slow, mean drawl sounds like a threat. "You look like you've seen a ghost." The serial killer beside him places a hand on Jason's shoulder, and Jason stills, going from rigid and poised for violence to tense and afraid. He's not afraid of the man, though. Instead, it looks like the physical contact just drops Jason's barriers enough to reveal his fear of Barbara. Jason's never been scared of her before. "It's all right," the man quietly says to Jason. "I promised." "Don't take a whole day again," Jason spits. Despite his tone, he grasps at the hand on his body, squeezes tightly, and picks it up so he can bonk his head against the large gloved knuckles. It's affectionate, and telling, and incredibly unnerving to watch. Jason never liked being touched before, either. "I'll come after you myself." "Whatever you say," the man hums easily, before scritching his hand over Jason's scalp like someone petting a dog. Then he nudges Jason away towards the plane and watches Jason climb the stairs. Batgirl blinks harshly at the longing she feels seeing Jason leave. "What?" She doesn't know what she's asking, but the man in front of her answers her nebulous confusion anyway. "Can't have him chasing me down and putting weight on that bad leg. Let's make this quick, for his sake." Barbara shuts her eyes tightly. "Please, let him come back to us." "He doesn't want to," the man replies. He sounds not quite sympathetic, but something close. "You know that." And she does. She knows. By this point, if she didn't, she'd just be lying to herself, but he's too young to make that call. "But not too young to be Robin. Last I checked, you had to be 18 before you were legally allowed to go to war. Does that not apply here? Does it not count if it's Batman's war on crime?" "Bruce Wayne is still legally his father. And you're right, Jason's not an adult, which means neither you nor he have the legal right to decide that he gets to run away from home." "Shut up. Everyone thought he was dead, and you have no legal rights to a corpse." "He's not a corpse," Barbara snaps back. "For all intents and purposes, he might as well have been," the guy yells, angrily sweeping an arm through the air. "You fuckshits thought he was dead and you acted accordingly, but it ain't legal to keep a body that's been dead for more than a month, even if you go through the proper channels. And remind me, how fucking long did you think and act like he was nothing more than another dead body? Double that? Triple? That's not how that works." "Tell that to the boy you all left for dead. Tell that to the kid who was still being beaten and broken and burned while you flapped around the rooftops, giving each rogue a slap on the wrist every time they killed more kids." "Prison isn't a slap on the wrist, fuckface," Barbara argues. "Neither is medical incarceration. There are laws in place for a reason, and the safety of—" "Laws for who?" he interrupts. "Safety for who? All the other dead idiots who get murdered by rogues? Because there's a whole lot of dead in the dirt who your laws didn't help." Barbara opens her mouth to argue, but the man cuts in with something that hurts worse. "To you, Jason's no more important than anyone else who you let die." "That isn't true, and you goddamn know it," Barbara snarls, suddenly overwhelmingly pissed. "He's family. Of course he's important." Not important enough for you to act any different when he dies, as opposed to the hundreds upon hundreds other casualties that kick it due to your negligence. He's baiting her. He's trying to trick her into saying Jason's more important than anyone else so he can throw the deaths of everyone else in her face and claim that they don't care about civilian lives or Jason's, but Barbara isn't having it. That logic is flawed. Are you saying Jason should matter to us more than civilians? That his suffering should warrant an exception from us? We can't break our rules for him, just like we can't break them for everyone else. Jason is important to us, and so is every other person in this city. We can't just kill the bad guys, even for the ones we love, because everyone's lives matter. Civilians, rogues, and vigilantes alike. You let the rogues kill civilians, so why won't you let other people kill them? Why do their lives matter more than the lives of the civilians they kill? Barbara throws her hands up in the air. They don't! All killing is illegal, that's what I'm telling you. We have to save everyone's lives, even the rogues, because if we just decide that they don't matter, then we're playing God. You're playing God by intervening in the first place. Fucking... The man groans loudly, like a father, fed up with being pestered. It makes Barbara's upper lip curl. No, I ain't having this goddamn argument again. We are getting on that plane. We are leaving this shithole, and you are letting us. And why am I doing that? The man leans forward. His voice is calm and self-assured. Because you know I'm right. Barbara blinks. What? No. Not the killing thing. Obviously. Then stop. I'm going to make some statements and I want you to either agree or disagree, and I need there to be no tangents, no excuses, no nuanced nonsense. Just some true or false. Fine. That kid got kidnapped and tortured by Joker because Batman recruited him to be Robin. True or false? Barbara feels her expression go completely flat. It's not even a deliberate move, she just feels her face empty of emotion. On the inside, though, she discovers a sudden desire to throttle the man. Go fuck yourself. True or false? He repeats calmly, bland, like a teacher talking to a child throwing a fit. True, she spits, and it feels like a loss. She wants to see where he's going with this, but hell does she hate how it feels. I rescued him from there, and Batman did not. True or false? True, she bites out, seething. The man's shoulders pull backwards and down a little. You care about the kid and want him to be safe. True or false? True, she blurts immediately, looking up. She starts to continue, but he raises a hand. Okay, I believe you. This is one you have to trust your gut on, all right? Facts, not ethical dilemmas. Okay. Since acquiring your lost child, I have gotten him first aid, kept him from harm, and ensured he won't be recaptured by the people who held him hostage in the first place. I also care about him, and I also want him to be safe. True or false? Batgirl frowns, folds her arms, looks at the grass thoughtfully, and hesitates. It's a hard question. On the first metaphorical hand, this man massacred 2 whole floors of a medical facility, graphically mutilated many, and is keeping a father from his son. On the other hand, he doesn't seem to be keeping a son from his father. Jason was always a bad liar. The vehement hatred in his eyes when Batman had been mentioned isn't something Barbara could picture him being able to feign. Jason doesn't want to come back, and with his stubborn streak, he'll fight tooth and nail to avoid them if they continue pursuing him before he's ready. The man in the helmet had been the one to rescue Jason from Arkham. They know that much. He'd killed dozens, but rescued Jason. He'd contacted assassins who were also medical professionals. He'd split off from Jason and Talia in order to buy time for them to slip under the radar and is currently trying to do something similar. He's been doing what Jason wants, unquestioningly, maybe without being asked at all. True, Barbara murmurs. You do care. She looks up. But you're going about it the wrong way. The man raises a hand again. Up, up, up. Shh. Shush. Last one, but it's long. Fine, she grits out. You and two asshats keeping vigil from the dark, even though I told you to come alone, do, in fact, understand that the cost the kid has paid for being associated with the big bad bastard is too high, and that he won't ever fully recover from this. You understand that Batman will try to push the kid through recovery the wrong way, either with too much slow and coddling condescendence as if he thinks the kid is a baby, or with too much unfeeling macho bullshit if he wants his soldier back. You understand that if the kid is dragged back by you against his will, he will never forgive any of you for it, no matter what you try, and that he will do whatever it takes to regain his autonomy and leave. You understand that he's tired and scared, and that with me and Talia, who both, despite your reservations, do care about him, he will never wind up in a situation like that again, because we will do whatever it takes, since you four will not. Barbara shuts her eyes. You understand that, like it or not, murderers or not, he's safer with us. True or false? True, she whispers, feeling tears prickle in her eyes. Shit. You know I'm right, the man repeats softly. If Barbara were feeling more generous, she'd call his tone almost apologetic. He doesn't want to go back, and you don't have the right to make him. Not with how things wound up for him before. Barbara presses the heels of her hands against her mask's eye lenses, pushing the material into her face and trying to smother her grief. I can't lose him again. The man huffs tiredly. There is no again, Barbara. He isn't who you remember. Barbara shakes her head and pulls her hands away to look up at him. He knows who she is anyway, so she pulls her cowl back too and looks him in the eyes. I don't care. I might have only known him for a year and a half, but I knew him before he was Robin, and he's the closest thing I ever had to a little brother. The man says nothing, but his eyes bore into her, bright green and searching for something. Barbara wipes at her face before her tears can leave her eyes. Everybody changes as they grow up. I want to get to know who he becomes. Do you? The man asks, voice strangely bland. He sounds suspiciously disinterested, like he's trying to cover up something else he's feeling. Do you want to see all the raw, damaged parts of him? Do you think you could accept all of the rage and ugliness, the meanness in his veins and the hate in his heart? Or are you asking because you want absolution? The question makes her hesitate. She remembers their last conversation, where he asked her if she thought she could survive alone time with Joker without changing as a person. She remembers him saying Joker hollows people out. She remembers Jason's harsh, not smile just 15 minutes ago, cruel and taunting and full of teeth. She remembers the way Jason used to snap at things with his teeth when he thought something was trying to take what he had decided was his. She remembers Jason saying he'd come to find the guy if he took too long to come back, wounds be damned. She remembers Jason comforting little kids in the aftermath of fights with a gentleness he never had otherwise. He's different for sure, but he's still Jason in all the ways that matter. He's still a snarky little shit who taunts when he's upset, still fiercely protective of himself and all the things he cares about, still impatient and caring and determined. He's still Jason, and that's all that matters. I wouldn't care if he'd never let me touch him again, Barbara says. I wouldn't care if he refused to talk to Batman for the rest of his life. He could take up arson, for all I care, so long as I could see him tell a stupid joke or hear him chatter about machinery again. The man's voice tilts a little, as does his head, like he's asking about something as mundane as the weather. What if he got a job as a professional torturer? He's got enough experience with it. He sounds almost genuinely curious. What if he took assassination gigs like Talia and I? What if he became a rogue? That's a little less straightforward. She stops. The question is misleading, Barbara realizes. The guy is testing her, trying to see how far Jason would have to go before her acceptance would fail. She won't fail this test. I don't think he'd be happy, she eventually says honestly. At worst, he'd fall into a necessary evil mindset, but I don't think he'd enjoy hurting people, especially innocents. I won't stop being Batgirl, and as Batgirl, I'd have to try to get him to stop, but I'll always believe he has the best of intentions. Everything past that is less important than his health and well-being. There's a long silence where she holds the man's gaze and fights through her bat instincts to show her earnestness, and where he stares into her soul in search of a lie. He doesn't find one, but he doesn't seem particularly satisfied with whatever it is he concludes either. We'll see, he says, almost to himself. Then, louder, more to her. For his sake, you better be right. Barbara decides it's less important figuring out what he means than knowing what comes next. What do we do now? The man shrugs. I don't know if he's decided yet whether he's coming home with me or with Talia. I don't know if whichever choice he picks will be permanent either. He might choose to come back to Gotham one day. He might stay in the Himalayas with the League of Assassins or decide to come with me and leave your world entirely. Our world? Barbara asks. Like vigilantes and superheroes and whatnot? Or just our family's scope? The man snorts. Who knows? All I know is that if you rush to find him now, after he's cemented you all in his mind as people who abandoned him, it's unlikely he'll take it well. That's not fair, Barbara protests weakly. Neither is life, says the man with a shrug. Give him space. Send the occasional letter through Talia or something to show you're there for him if he wants you to be, but don't go looking for him. Don't ask him to reply. If he wants to see you again, he'll get there on his own. Respect his boundaries. Barbara's heart hurts. Anything else? Tips, suggestions, you? She swallows around the lump in her throat. You seem to know him best now. Leave Bruce out of it. No shit. I meant beyond that. The man's eyes crinkle behind his glasses, cheeks rising behind the mask as he smiles. Trust your gut, Barbara. Make sure you go over these boundaries with the other two. Be patient. Keep in mind that he might never reach out at all. If he does, it'll take time. So try to move forward with your life in the meantime. Yeah.